just hate having to do videos like this. Plus, it's okay. I can't do anything more than like 5 minutes, or I can't get it loaded. Every time I turn around, I have a new expense. Like today is a holiday, or yeah, well, no, it's 12/42. Okay. Yesterday, the 14th, right, was a holiday, Columbus Day, which means that you can park wherever you want, where I live, without getting a ticket. But I get a ticket anyway. Because apparently, Columbus Day is not right. I have to call, the police and get this straightened out. And I am taking this one to court. Yeah, that's bullshit. So or I'm going to schedule a court appointment, but I already have court appointments up the ass, right? Or should I just pay the fucking $25, right? But as things get tighter and tighter and tighter for me, because I'm juggling a lot right now, and I've lost, or my insurance coverage, has gone up significantly to the point where I don't think I'm going to be able to even afford to get the surgery I need to correct this. Okay, you know what I mean? It's like I would have to borrow the money, or I don't know what I'd have to do. But this bitch talks about an opportunity economy. It doesn't even make sense. What does that mean? This is what people want. This is not working. I want to move my body. Okay, this is what people want. They want to be able to get up, go to bed in the morning, have a place to go, and have the potential for working their way up, being paid for their talents, and becoming a success, and then perhaps starting their own business after that. Harris is talking about doing $20,000 loans specifically for Black men to start a business. Well, I'm telling you right now, I got to keep it down here. The Black men in my neighborhood, I think they'd really enjoy just going to a job that pays them a lot. So, or above, I'm not talking about a Dunkin' or a DoorDash job, or, oh my gosh, I have to move my body here. Hang on a minute. A DoorDash. I'm sorry. Okay. A DoorDash, or, okay. Let's see. Like everywhere you go, there's a fast food place popping up. Working at Wingstop, working at McDonald's, working at a Subway, working at a Walmart. I mean, those jobs are good, and you can work your way up to manager, but let's think on a different scale. What about the hospitality industry? What about like hotel management? You could even start here in like Milwaukee. I know for a fact that there is a hotel that would hire people as a bellhop. It's downtown. I believe Trump stayed there during the convention. I know that place very well. If I wasn't on crutches, I would have been down there. But I'm, that the RNC is pissed off at me anyway from 2016. I was very bombastic. And they thought I was an infiltrator, and they won't let me into their circle anymore. Well, fuck them then, how's that? If they have a stick up their ass about me voting for Trump, that's their problem, not mine. They pretend to like him, but they don't. I'm telling you this right now. People on the outside, but people in the inner circles are just like that, including Ron Johnson. Don't think that he's great. He's not. But you're speaking of this, like, go to a bellhop, go to a hotel where you could make in tips a significant amount of money per week, hundreds of dollars. and maybe get training at the front desk, and then maybe get like a PM manager or something like that, or evening manager or something. But it might take a while to work your way up, but it's doable if you're willing to work hard. But if these businesses are shrinking and people can't afford luxuries, forget it. I would even do that if I, didn't have a broken pelvis. I mean, actually, it kind of sounds like fun, and you'd meet a lot of really cool people. Seriously, you could start out big, start with that. And if that doesn't work, go to, the local, Hilton or something. But you could start out by being in a downtown area. As far as owning a home, not everyone can own a home at this time, due to the economy being in the shitter. That should not be a given, I'm sorry to say. When I was bought my first house, I had saved up my whole freaking life to buy a house. When I had enough money, I spent like a year looking for something. It takes a long time. You can't just go into something like that. Being a real estate agent in the inner city here, and being in the worst neighborhoods. And, the first time I met a dude in a terribly bad neighborhood. The house was just a fucking mess. But he still wanted to look into buying it anyway, because he figured he could get a crew together and do the necessary repairs and make it into a masterpiece. And there are a lot of people that have done that and figured out how to do it. But if you can't, and I'm, just looking at different things for job-wise. And then the home buying thing keeps going all over the place. If I was 36 years old, before I bought my first house. And there were many reasons behind that. But you have to be ready to make that commitment. And right away, I went in there before I officially moved in, after I closed on it. And I went in there and I did a lot of work, with my hands, elbow grease, to make that place, spanking beautiful. It already was beautiful. But like I said, it took me a year to find that place. And it took me until I was 36 years old to save the money. And if you have to wait till you're 40, then you have to wait till you're 40. That's okay. If you're not ready to do it and you don't have the money to make the necessary repairs. I mean, for example, I remember we were going over all the documents with this chick who was always there whenever we looked at it, the owner. And she had said, well, hey, we have a new roof. It's a year old. Here's the warranty. We have, I can't remember how long the warranty was, but it was pretty long warranty. And I said, okay, that's great. So what happens? You move in, and I had not been married yet. So I moved in first to just, make the place, absolutely clean and redo the cabinets and wash everything down and, that type of thing, the type of thing that you want to do in a new home that's yours. And I actually took everything apart. They were very old cabinets, and I took everything off the hinges and redid everything and put everything back together again on my own. I just decided, hey, this is, somebody was cooking with a hell of a lot of grease, and this is just unacceptable, but we had an issue with the roof, and they hadn't done something right, and we had a leak, and it was a problem, and it was right away, and we had quite a bit of rain that season, I believe, for about a month. And so, we got the warranty person in there, we got the roofing company in there, and they fixed it, and I didn't have to pay a penny because we had the warranty. They just forgot to put some flashing in the corners on the roof. You have to learn all about these things. Then, within a year or two, we had an issue with the furnace breaking down. What do you do then? Well, we called someone in. Luckily, it was only about $80. It wasn't a big deal. And my husband learned how It was something to do with a filter. It was a high efficiency, rather new furnace. And I can't remember exactly what happened, but it was just cleaning this filter out, and he figured out how to do it himself. And the next time we had the issue with the furnace, we were able to figure that out on your own. You need to be able to, use a drill. You need to be able to keep the place up and do the work outside and make sure the windows are taken care of and all this shit. Because if you don't, the place is going to fucking fall apart. And if you can't do it on your own, you better make sure you have the money to hire someone to do it. And as far as saving money, I mean, we did put down like $30,000. And it was over an 8% mortgage. I think it was about 8.3% at the time. Which was kind of high. But as soon as interest rates went down, we refinanced and everything was hunky-dory. And you make above, make your interest payments. Okay. Well, here's another example. So we're there for a year and all of a sudden we get a notice from the city that we have a special assessment to our taxes of like $3,600. I'm like, what the flying fuck is this? I said, I was paying quarterly taxes to the state and the feds, and I was up to my earballs in taxes. I was working my ass off. I was making a lot of money, but I kept putting it right back to the government, and I was in a pissy mood about that, and so all of a sudden we get this special assessment because they're going to rip the sidewalk up, do something to the sewer, and they're going to put a new road in. And what they do is they assess every property on the block, and you have to pay your portion of it. That's major. And yeah, we had the money and shit, but I was just pissed off at the time. This is before the Bush tax cuts that Obama and Biden pay your fair share, wanted to take away and go back. I don't know what's going on with the tax policies right now. As far as a self-employed person, I haven't been for a while. So hang on a moment. Let me just take care of this quickly. So like if you're not, what the fuck? Oh my gosh. Okay. If you're not in a position to do something, then you're just going to have to wait. If you put the right leader in there, eventually things will change. But with this Kamala, I tell you, that would be unrealized capital gains on your house, plus your taxes, plus this, plus that. And then before you know it, you lose your job and then you're sitting there with this house and you can't make the mortgage payments or, they're going to turn your electricity off if you don't pay your bill. They're not going to make a special exception for you. Shit like this happens. They will turn your water off. I was working with a guy, I was selling a house for him, and he didn't tell me how broke he was, and they turned the water off. And I'm like, wow, okay. Yeah. Some communities, you have to pay a fee for the association or whatever. You have to make sure you have this in order. If you don't have enough money to do that, which most people don't right now, but to take free money from the government, hey man, $25K? $20K? Can you live on $20K? No. How would you start a business on that? It just would be almost impossible. But then, like, what kind of business? You know what I'm saying? So, Black men in the inner city, like, they just want a job and they just want to make their way up the ladder, and then they want to like work their ass off if given the opportunity. But that doesn't come from them just laying in bed all morning and having a dream about what they want to do. Here's a dream. I want to sit in front of the TV and do critiques all day. Not really, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, and really, how long would $20,000 last you in this economy? I mean, you'd be lucky. I mean, you need about 10 or 12. You'd need to bring in 10 or 12 as an individual just to kind of be right above water and take a trip and shit like that. So if you can't, unfortunately, if you can't afford to do it, and the economy is such that you can't, waiting for the government to do handouts ain't gonna help you. I remember when Biden did those tax checks and gave a check to everybody for $700 or something like that, $750. I bought my kayak, you know. I know a kid that bought an electric bicycle that used that to get back and forth to work. That was a good investment for him. But people just needed that at that point just to survive. But what most people did was they went and they took their kids to a hotel and used the pool for the weekend and ordered a bunch of food. And how is that going to help them? It's not going to, you know. So getting handouts from the government, or you know, really, it's not in the end of the day really going to help you. It might give you a long weekend somewhere, but $20K to start a business, it's not even a lot. And what happens when that runs out after 2 months, which it would? You know, there are things you can do with your life to make it happen. But in this economy and with this type of inflation, it's getting harder and harder. I mean, I worry. You know, I haven't eaten for so many days. So today I finally go out and buy produce. I just wanted to make a big salad, you know. I bought radishes and carrots and tomatoes and lettuce and all kinds of shit. Well, the head of lettuce I bought was rotten, which I was shocked at, and I'm taking it back. And what else happened? And that was like $4. Used to be like 89 cents. Maybe $1.29. Okay, now you see what I'm saying? And then you get one thing on top of another, and then you're like, holy fuck, how do I do this? How do I make it work? And then I've got an injury on top of it, and I've got travel costs back and forth, to court. And I'm thinking, how the fuck am I going to get through now and the end of the year? And it's really serious. Plus, there's this fucking election coming up. So when she talks of this opportunity economy, what does that mean? And why doesn't anyone ask her what it means? So mortgage deduction is very important. Tips. No tax on tips. You're thinking, no, that's so petty. Who cares? Again, like I said, or I did another video before, or maybe I said at the beginning of this, if you were to start at the bottom doing something and you can clean yourself up and go to a big company and start at the bottom. I did it when I was 23 years old. I was working as a nursing assistant. I'd spent, done the practical nursing route. I had learned all this stuff, but it was just like I was 18, 19 years old, and it was starting to get to me. After 6 years, I was like, this is depressing, and the economy was picking up, and I thought, you know what? I am going to get myself a job at a big corporation in an office building downtown. And that's what I did. And it wasn't easy. I had to, I went through, one or two jobs that I quit like right away. And I just said, this is bullshit. I'm not doing it. Now that happened to me one time where I was promised that I would be doing things with regard to learning how to help people. I can't remember exactly. It was a medical supply company. And instead of actually working and in the sales as an assistant, They gave me a typewriter and put me in a room somewhere to type a bunch of documents up. I was only typing 35 words a minute at the time. You know, I was like, after a week, and the guy was just insane. And after a week, I just said, you know, que mala, you know, I was just out of there. But there are things you can do if you put your mind to the right way, and you can start at the bottom. But like I said, like just being a bellhop, or like I know of the hotel that Trump stayed at, I would do that. You know, if I was younger and wanted to start out and maybe get into hotel management. And I know people that have done it. So you get rich people coming in, you have rock stars coming in, you have all this shit coming in through that door. They're going to tip you a lot. And you're not going to have to worry about declaring it on your income. And then your income goes up, but that part of your income you're not paying income tax on. Therefore, in a service economy, you can go out and get your mortgage, and you can get approved for a loan. You know, in some people, I've had customers that have done this when I sold real estate. They're like, I can afford the payments. I have the money. It's just not documented that way. Therefore, I can't get the loan because the bank is going to see that I'm only making $20,000 a year, even though I'm making $50,000. Now, I'm just putting numbers out there. This was a few years ago, too. And I'm thinking to myself, well, that sucks. You know, even massage therapists get tips. But I'll never forget this girl. And she was a bitch. And she had me running in 100 circles. And then she just kind of went off and chickened out on the whole thing. And she, you know, she just didn't seem like, she wanted a dishwasher. I'm like, how many dishes as a single gal are you going to have? You know, I'm thinking that in my head. I thought, well, that's something that you can put into your kitchen. Oh, that would cost about $1,500. I'm like, I don't know, would it? You know, this is what I'm saying. If you can't afford all the top-notch brand new appliances that you want, just wait. Then you're going to have to wait until you can. But that's not the most. If you have a big family and you're in a hurry and you're working, I can see it. That's what I'm saying. This stuff just doesn't make sense to me. An opportunity economy is all about giving people the chance to create and solve problems on their own terms. Well, here's my own term. I want someone else to do it for me. Create and solve. Now, here, the chance to create and solve problems so I'm going to create a problem on my own term, and then I'm going to solve it. I'm going to read this sentence again. This is how insane this shit is. The opportunity economy is all about giving people the chance to create and solve problems on their own terms. So I'm going to create a problem, and then I'm going to solve it on my own term. I think you can already do that now. It's about using technologies to help people connect with each other and get things done. What does that mean? In other words, I'm going to use my phone. So in other words, what if you need like a computer system that's several $1,000s, but all you have is a phone and you can't afford that? You know, and you need A, B, C, D, E, you need all kinds of business solutions. You need a copier, you need, you know, blah, 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 blah. So what happens? Like, how do you get that money? How do you create? It just doesn't make sense. So I can create my own problems and then solve them on my own. Well, I'll tell you what my problem is. I don't have enough money to buy food right now. So that was created by you, Kamala. It's about using technologies to help people connect. Yeah, I'm going to go on LinkedIn. That ought to do it. and get things done. Hey, let me send a text over to you and let's connect and let's get her done. One of the biggest benefits of the opportunity economy is it encourages creativity and risk-taking. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to open a dusting business. I'm going to put my cleaning mask on and I'm going to, you could open up a cleaning business. That would be fine. But this is what I'm saying. You need to work and you need to start out. You need to kiss some ass like I did. I kissed major ass. When I say any job I have, I always kiss ass. I'm a kiss ass. I'm a brown noser. If someone tells you to do something you don't want to do, you do it anyway. Oh, here, I'll give you an example. When I used to work at the brokerage firm and people wanted hard copies of different prospectuses for different companies that were going public, even as a novelty. The Harley Davidson IPO was a big one. It had a picture of, I think, Wilt Chamberlain in there sitting on a Harley, if I'm not mistaken. So all of a sudden I have the company only printed so many. So I'm having runners all over New York City try to, send copies over to me. And all of a sudden I became, like the person that they could depend on to get little favors like that done. And I would just basically beg people. I'd say, could you please just send 10 more? I can send you 5. Can you make it 6? You need to learn how to do these skills. Selling luxury automobiles, huge commission. But if there isn't money in the economy for people to buy the luxury autos, you don't have an income. It encourages creativity and risk-taking. When you don't have money right now to put food in your mouth, I don't know how much more risk you can take. Do you get my drift? I mean, you just need, right now, if I didn't have a broken pelvis, really, honestly, I know how to, you have to figure out how to get through to the person that does the hiring. Then you have to shove yourself at them, literally. Not in a bad way, not aggressively, but you have to get to that person and say, hey, here are my skills. I dropped off my resume. Did you get it? Can I send it to you? I will come in person and meet you. And then this always happened to me. How did you get my name and number? I said, I just picked up the phone and asked for you. And they'd be like, oh, seriously. I'd spend a couple of days and I'd wait until that person, and I would just kind of hang up, or you can turn your caller ID off. And then finally, when the person answers, introduce yourself and just sell yourself to the company. It's really easy. But go in person. I don't want to go in person. Just do it. It all depends. If you look professional and make yourself into a professional, not walking around with a hoodie and old leggings on and some tennis shoes. Be a professional and you can get there. But right now, if you're just laying in bed all day dreaming and trying to create your own problems and then solve them because it gives me risk taking, what that sounds to me is like a welfare roll. That sounds like Obama's Recovery and Reinvestment Act, where he canceled all welfare reform and welfare to work programs, especially in the state of Wisconsin. Tommy Thompson he was one of the first people to do it. It was very successful. And I knew many people that did really well and their self-confidence went up. And, I had a doctor who was a friend. Unfortunately, she has very bad cancer. I don't know if she's still alive or not because I've had my own issues. But she had a very rare form of breast cancer. and she had to take an extended leave of absence. She had someone come in and work her practice for her on a part-time basis to take care of her existing patients. And she used to, and before all, in the early 2000s, she would hire girls before Obama, and they didn't speak properly. They were unprofessional. And these were all Black women. And the doctor was a Black woman. She would say, hey, look it. And she would talk to them. She'd say, this is what you have to do. You're not doing this right. And they'd listen to her. And then you'd come in a month later and they'd be like a little bit better. And then 6 months out, they'd be like, hey, I'm getting a new job at the hospital in patient services. I've worked my way from being on welfare to sitting here taking appointments at this office in the hood to getting a job at the biggest hospital here. And then, you know what I'm saying? So people need structure, but in a shitty economy, if you're just laying in bed, I'm going to, text him today and then my day is done. And I'm going to use my technology, which is my phone. I mean, a lot of people don't even have printers. They don't have computers. They don't have these things. So I think this is if anybody falls for this shit, this is the biggest load of crap. It's a wrecking ball of Fed control. This is the New York Post. This is September 26th. I've never heard such bullshit before in my whole life. Except how much I love her because, she is, this is a beautiful, young, fresh, new generation. There's a new generation of beauty. And don't you forget it.